Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 7th day of June. Got a great show. Got John Bristano from Spitballin' Sports Backstage. Going to ask him about this Chris Paul situation just developed this afternoon. Conflicting reports. One report saying he's already been released. Others saying that the team is discussing a possible trade or release. Either way, something's going to go down with the 38-year-old point guard from Phoenix. We'll go ahead and get our first and only break out of the way. We'll hit the ground running here in 49 seconds on Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. Alrighty, then I'm back here live. Hey, John, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Robert, how are you?
I'm good. Hey, let's start with that news there. Chris Paul, conflicting reports he's going to be released. Other reports said they're going to discuss it. Now I'm reading he may want to come back. I don't know if they want him back. What's your thoughts on the 38-year-old point guard out of Phoenix, man?
Well, I'm good for Phoenix. I like, I love the offseason in every sport. So, good for them to do this.
Yeah.
If he wants to come back, and it would be, they could probably, they could re-sign him at free agency.
Yeah.
For a lower price. That would be great for Phoenix.
Yeah.
And obviously Paul he needs a championship. He needs one before this all ends. And I don't know if there's a better place than Phoenix for him. You know what I mean? I'm not sure where else he could be. So interesting. You caught me off guard. I didn't see. I've been doing some other podcasts this afternoon, and boy, that took me off guard. And
I read it off Twitter. Chris Haynes is saying they're going to release him. They owe him about $15 million, so they're probably going to work out something there. I just think at this point in his career, being 38, he played 59 games. He was hurt in the playoffs. I think maybe he's kind of an off the bench role player at this point. I don't see anything else. I mean, they've got a new coach there, Frank Vogel. He's going to be really good. I think he's a championship coach. I think it was an upgrade, even though I do like their former coach. But this guy, he's really good with centers. I think DeAndre Ayton's going to be great there, and they definitely got to go younger. But a role has to be explained for Paul. I mean, he can't be the starter no more. He's too old. He's too injury prone, man.
Yeah, no, I love the new coach. The old coach, I liked him. I think he's perfect in Detroit.
Yeah, Monty Williams. Yeah.
I just think, though, when I'd watch the Suns often, I thought he didn't show enough emotion. Sometimes the players want to replay, they want to do something, and he would just sit there like he had no emotion. I think that was tough. Like he was just emotionless. Where Vogel, I think will be different. But for Paul, you're right. I would think he comes back to Phoenix. Yeah. Because he's been there. So why would you want to move just for what reason? And you can be off the bench, because that's what he's got to realize that now. That's the point. If he doesn't realize it, then maybe he doesn't come back.
Right. So usually, you know how this thing works. Usually the first report really is the real one, that they want to just release him and move on. So like you said, I just kind of broke it. I know you're a big NBA guy. Wanted to get your first off the cuff, your reaction to that kind of story. It kind of caught me off guard too, because he did have a year left on his contract.
It's exciting. I love it. I love to see when these teams do stuff proactively, because horrible way for their season to end. You expected more. Yeah. And I don't know what it is. I enjoy when teams react, do what they got, do something. I hate when teams just decide they're going to run it back after they've just been a terror. How many times is the Phoenix Suns going to have that happen? So you got to change some stuff up. It was great. I agree with you about Vogel too, by the way. I actually saw you on Twitter talking about it. And some people were a little like, why would you bring him in? You're right. Ayton, they got to fix him. And this guy fixed him.
He was so good with Roy Hibbert from Indiana, and that guy's just he's just a mediocre center, but he they gave the Heat everything they can handle with that team, with him and Paul George, Ayton, Booker, Durant's still on contract. I don't know what they're going to do with the Paul situation. Paul's got to play a role. He can't play 35, 40 minutes no more. It's just too much, man.
Yeah, and they got
Paul. So that's an exciting thing, a really exciting story to kind of monitor. That's one of those developing deals. You just don't know which direction it's going to go in. So what's your thoughts now? Boston loses. They did hire Sam Cassell. I thought they should have made a total coaching change. Cassell's 53, man. Been around, got 3 rings. I thought maybe he should just brought him in as the head coach and not the assistant under 34-year-old Joe Mazzulla. What's your thought about that with the whole Boston thing, the way that ended?
I think Sam Cassell coming in, there's got to be interesting for Mazzulla, right? I mean, you got to be looking over your back, over your shoulder a little bit. Mazzulla reminded me, and I don't know if he's going to have the same. I don't know if he'll have the same, whatever,
core guys.
Yeah, no, like he reminds me of Spoelstra a little bit. Spoelstra from, it's the same situation. We have the same success as him. I don't know, but you know what I mean? He's just kind of like Spoelstra
really
was just
young. Yeah.
And he was thrown into that role because Riley's gonna step down. This guy, because of what happened, with the former head coach.
Yeah.
He didn't like to take timeouts. I don't know what the problem was there with Mizzou. I don't know. I wasn't as strong as you were. I saw what you're saying on firing him right now. But
I think he's just over his head, man.
Sam Cassell, though, is kind of the reminder. I don't know if he's there to teach him or could. Geez. I mean, that was a strong, to me, what a message that is to bring him in my mind. From the organization. Here he is. He'll take your job right now if you don't. I don't know. Some of the mistakes were crazy. Like some of those timeouts, why they weren't taken,
and all those threes they took, they only shot 21%. Even Barkley's like, why are you taking all these threes? I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Jacking up in the game 7, the way that you just get a sense that this team is ready made now. Horford's a little long in the tooth. If you're a Boston's fan, the only optimism I can look at is that you got guys like Tatum and Brown. They've only been there 4 or 5 years. Jordan didn't win his first one until about 7 years. LeBron, I think, 9 years into the league. Both around 27 years old. So essentially that'd be 2 more seasons. But why do you want to grow a young coach there? I would think maybe bring him in when they were drafted, not now when they're ready to make that next step. Maybe they think he's going to be ready in 2 years or maybe that the general manager guy that used to be the coach.
Is it Stevens?
Yeah, Brad Stevens. Maybe he's worried about his own job because they extended this guy before the season. And that coaching's really involved in the playoffs because it's about substitutions.
Yeah.
You're constantly resetting your lineups. Look at what Spoelstra's doing. And I don't know why they did that. So it was really a big Brad Stevens era,
Yeah. And of course they got such a curveball with Udoka, with all that, and they might have, and I think they were too quick on what they did.
Yeah.
And then, that was such a, you're right. I mean, Missoula, you could have, I thought he was just going to be, you'd think he might be just interim. You wouldn't have had him
Me too, man. Yeah.
I know where you're going with it. The only thing for him is if he's like Spoelstra, they'd be brilliant. Yeah. But I don't know. They put him in a spot that isn't fair to him in some ways too. Yeah. I mean, think about his coaching career here. If this doesn't go well, he's going to be an assistant for life. And
he might get another. You just never know. I mean, this may work out with Cassell. I mean, maybe he's Cassell is going to help him out, and maybe they win a championship, Cassell, because then he'll definitely get a head coaching job. He's been an assistant since 2009, Sam Cassell.
Right. And what about the whole, and you probably see all the rumors about trading Jaylen Brown. I see a lot of that. That's interesting. I would love to. I don't know what you get back in that kind of return or what happens there, but that surprised me. I didn't think that would ever be an option, but some are saying.
Yeah, maybe him for Damian Lillard or somebody. I threw a hot one out there. A lot of people think it was crazy. Maybe look at trading Tatum for Luka Doncic with Brogdon off the bench, and then throwing about 3 or 4 draft picks. And maybe you put in because Doncic is the guy. He's a 36-point average a game guy. Brown would know to back down then to play his role, and then you get some role players around them. I'm sure Dallas fans would freak out, but I think both players could use either or player for the Celtics could use a change of scenery. Not less maybe an assistant like a Sam Cassell. I was watching a video, I played it on my program yesterday, where Cassell was assistant with Philadelphia, and he was getting in James Harden's rear end, just like he was getting on Maxey, really on Harden, because Harden was asking him questions. And he said, "Why do you start over in this drill?" He says, "Because you missed, mother effer." Yeah, and that's something you can only say if you're a former player, Yeah.
And Tatum's an odd guy. Like when I hear I don't know if it's an act or I don't know what it is, but he is he's one of the most conceited I've ever seen. As far as when he gets interviewed. Really? So when he talks on the mic, I'm like stunned. The way some of the things he said.
Maybe it's fake confidence. I think he's kind of overcompensating.
That's what I'm thinking too, because sometimes he'll just call himself the greatest. I mean, he says some things. I'm like, holy cow. So that'll be interesting how Cassell deals with him. I don't know. That team too, when you get past those two guys, there's a lot of work to do, right? I mean, I don't see much
right there with the Chris Paul situation being 36, man.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So I just wonder what your thoughts were. Also in the news this week, obviously, and I'm sure you've heard about this or read it, Kyrie Irving trying to get LeBron to play with him and Luka in Dallas. What's your thoughts about that? I think it'd been a great idea about 6 years ago, not so much now.
Yeah, and I also, everyone wants the ball, it seems like. Kyrie's not exactly a distributor. You know how that is. I mean, these guys are all going to want the ball. I don't know how it would work any better. It didn't work out between Kyrie and Luka. It didn't seem to. Now you're going to bring LeBron into the mix. Geez, I think that's a disaster. Again,
Do you think they'll try to sign Kyrie with the Lakers?
I wouldn't be surprised, I guess. It wouldn't shock me. I thought LeBron was going to leave. I didn't know what.
I think LeBron's going to retire. He did say, air quote, he will think about it, because he does. He's got a high respect, LeBron said, of Luka, and I think he could get. LeBron seems like the kind of guy can make anything work. Other than Westbrook, nobody can make Westbrook work. I mean, Ty Lue did a good job, but they have won together before, him and Kyrie. But him and Luka, I think Luka. I mean, if you don't respect LeBron and LeBron's already said in a long statement he loves him some Luka Doncic.
Right.
So I think but LeBron's 39.
Yeah. If it was a younger LeBron, and I'm only saying this, and it's never going to happen. Right. I always thought he wanted to go to New York with the Knicks, but he's too old for that now. Remember way back when that was one of the teams when he made his decision, and obviously he's too old. But it would have been interesting if he was maybe 3 or 4 years younger.
Yeah. So exactly, man. Just crazy talk. Just wanted to get your opinion on that. Now, what is your thoughts about this series, man? I'm telling you, I picked Denver in 5, but I don't know. Maybe it's Denver in 6, and I don't know. Maybe Miami may pull this insane comeback or this insane run off. Adebayo
has been awfully good. Wow, I didn't. What a performance for him and guys like Gabe Vincent. The last game Miami wins by 3, and they did a great job making Jokic not be, he couldn't pass the ball. They made him score 40. When he scores 40,
the Steve Nash on him, didn't they?
Yeah. So I felt like even with all that, they still had a chance. A Jamal Murray shot away from going to overtime or whatever. I still think that Denver wins in 5. I still like that too. I thought they were great. I mean, Spoelstra he's great. I mean, that was what a brilliant move. 2 great coaches, by the way. I love these 2 guys.
Yeah, I like this Mike Malone guy too. I really do. He said exactly what I was thinking. Denver seemed like they already had the championship won that first 5 minutes of the game. They're down 10-2, and I'm like, guys, what are you doing? Yeah. Miami's not going to roll over and play dead.
No,
they're playing this thing to win it. They're not playing Cinderella. They're wanting to win the whole. They feel like they should be the favorite,
And it's amazing. I feel like every team. I don't know if I'm about to say it's about the Knicks, but a lot of teams underperformed against Miami in a way. You know what I mean? Now here they are, and Jimmy Butler hasn't even played that well. So that's another thing too, I guess. In defense of, I guess, going against what I just said, Butler really hasn't played that great.
No, I've read a stat the other day. His point differentials went down about 11 points per game over the last 9 playoffs. I mean, and they've played over 20. They've won the most games by an 8 seed ever. They passed the Knicks back in '99 with that win the other night. And I want to say they played like 21 games. They play because you got those playing games are playoff games, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was, I think, Denver's first home loss. There was a lot of, and there's some guys though that just aren't like Michael Porter or whatever. He's just having a horrible time from 3 points. I mean, Denver should win the series, right? I mean, but
you like them tonight. I think Denver will win tonight, but Miami seems to have that it's a speed edge, and they had the extra day off. I mean, Miami could upset them tonight, but I think Denver will win tonight. That's why I'm, man, I can't wait to this game.
It makes no sense to me, though, that he's going to score 42 and you lose. I mean, still win the game. The guy scores 42. You know what I'm saying? Michael Porter don't shoot 3 for 17 from 3. I don't know. Jamal Murray didn't have that great of a game either. He only had 18 points. I'm going to say this, too, about Jokic, and he should have been the MVP. He should be a 3-time MVP in a row. I know the NBA doesn't like to give that out, but he's just the best there is. I mean, when I'm watching him back himself, Adebayo played great. It was game 1. Great defense against the backs. He does a turnaround fadeaway jumper like Larry Bird. I mean, it was really, and it's all net. The guy is, I understand he's boring to watch. I think some people find it boring,
I don't. Touch passes, though. The one he did last night's or Sunday night's game. I hate these long layoffs, by the way. I wish there was 2 and 2 but last night's game or the other night, that touch pass he threw, where it was quick pass to him and that touch pass inside, that was one of the best passes of the whole playoffs, man. It looked like just boom, boom. I don't know if you got a chance to watch this thing on Bill Walton last night. I watched a little bit of it. I got it recorded. But, man, Walton was like that back in his day.
Oh,
yeah, back in the 70s. He was that good, a big man that could pass. He had eyes in the back of his head. And I'm like you, man. And even though Spoelstra said that's not really the game plan, yes, it's the game plan. You want the guy to score 40-something. He don't need to get other people involved because he does, you're going to get beat.
Right. And it's crazy that 40 points they lose. The guy is just – I do like watching him play offense. I don't even when he's shooting and scoring. I mean, and of course, once again, we're on the East, and I don't probably pay attention to Denver as much as I normally would throughout the season. Sometimes I play into they had that whole argument one time on Stephen A. Smith's show with JJ Redick and Perkins about when Perkins said the only reason why he wins the MVP is because he's white.
Right.
And then JJ Redick fought with him. And you see, you listen to that and you don't hear. So, you get this. ESPN sets the narrative. And then when you watch him, it's like, come on, it's not even. He's better than both big men. He's better than Embiid. And I can't believe I'm going to say this. I think he's better than the freak there in Milwaukee.
Giannis, oh wow.
Yeah,
and they really need to win though for him to live that up.
Yeah,
I feel
they
like
do.
they got the home court. Murray's healthy. They got to win this championship to really to put him above Giannis. They got to, because remember, Giannis won Defensive Player of the Year too.
I know.
He's a beast, man, and
he is. I like him a lot. I mean, I maybe I'm a little. I didn't too much care for what happened this year, and some of the things he said in his press conference after they got eliminated. I thought was
what did he say?
Just kind of like, what are you gonna do? Almost like that whole thing. What are you gonna do? I can't do it all by myself.
Oh wow!
But that's what he had said, and I was like, wow, I didn't expect that out of him. But so. You're right. I mean, maybe I went a little crazy there, but Jokic is my favorite. I mean, it's just enjoyable to watch. He's a second-round pick too, which is crazy.
Yeah, 41st overall. And some of the way he played the Lakers, he looked like the best player. I mean, Spoelstra, I don't think he was exact. So, yeah, he's got to get others involved tonight, man, and really solidify this championship. If he gets that championship, then you say the other two MVP. I mean, I guess you put him above Giannis, but Giannis, it's like he elevated his game. Remember, he was having a hard time hitting free throws. That year they won a couple of years ago, he was money. It's like he went into that Jordan extra level of focus, man, and he was hitting all his free throws there towards the end. When Chris Paul, I thought, was going to win a championship, man.
Yeah, I tonight's game. I mean, I think I'd be surprised if I'll be surprised if Denver loses tonight. I just can't believe they're gonna. I don't think it matters where they play. I just think they're just better. To me, they're just a better team, and I think they'll show it tonight. I also think sometimes it's okay to get punched in the mouth a little bit, like they did at home. The first home loss.
They were overconfident, wouldn't they?
You said that, and you're right.
Yeah.
That's how it exactly looked. I was thinking, I'm watching the game like, holy cow, they're getting run out of here. And
they were up by 15. How do you give up a 15-point lead at home, man?
I know. There's so much. I don't know. This Miami team, I thought the Knicks could beat them.
They're like Freddie Cougar, man. They just keep coming back, dude.
Yeah. No. Adebayo's unbelievable. He's averaging like 23.
Steve Kerr went on Draymond Green's podcast. He says, listen, it's not Joker. We know what Joker is. He said the head of the snake is Jamal Murray. He said, we got to take Murray. And I thought, that's correct, Steve Kerr. So my thing is, the head of their snake is probably not Butler. And like you said, it's probably Bam.
Yeah, it probably is.
Something like a triangle offense, and they run it through Bam,
And then they have these. You're right, and then they have these guys like Struz who come out off the bench wherever he's coming from, and he's hitting 3, 6. I don't know how many he hit the other night. He kind of saved the momentum. He switched the whole momentum of the game, and like I say, they are so. I mean, they're so well coached. That's one thing about them too. But I'm not taking nothing away from Mike Malone. I like Mike Malone a lot.
Yeah,
his comments were really interesting when they asked him about the fact that they allowed. They allowed Jokic to score 40, and that was he didn't like that. He was kind of pissed off about it. You could tell. They really didn't do anything
with the media because he wants to play that. We get no respect. What's that really funny comedian used to say that all the time?
Oh, Rodney Dangerfield. Yeah.
Hey, we get no respect. You want us to talk about the Lakers, huh?
Yeah.
Chad, he says Giannis didn't asked if the season was. That is true, Chad. I was disappointed. Giannis did have that thing in his back, that bruise or whatever, contusion. And they did have the best record in the league. I was surprised that they couldn't bounce back. But, hey, Miami just took it, man. They saw a weakness, man. And that was like a shark of blood, man.
And, of course, they're asking him not too long after this embarrassing loss, where they get knocked out by number 8. So I'd like to hear that question again now that they, what I mean? Let's see what he thinks of this now. I mean, you're pissed off then, I'm sure. And
Giannis seems like he's coming from a good place, man. Before I let you go, let me ask you about this. Josh Allen, you're out of Buffalo. He gets the Madden cover, dude. Uh, what's your thoughts about the first bill being Josh Allen to get that Madden cover?
The people here are, and I was going to ask this question, probably I will Friday on my show. Why do fan bases care if anyone on their team is because usually there's a jinx. You don't. I mean, I know it's just all jinx stuff, but guys usually get hurt that are on that cover.
Right.
I remember when Brian Urlacher was on a cover, and I was shook. I'm like, this guy's going to get hurt. I don't want you on the cover.
What happened to him that year?
He got hurt.
Wow. Yeah, you know something? It's a long curse. I was looking up the history of those curses, and it goes back to 99. I did read that Mahomes got on there. They won the Super Bowl, so it was no curse for him. And Brady got to the Super Bowl, but he did not win. But you're right, man. There's a long list of Eddie George. I'm out of Nashville.
Yes.
Ray Lewis got injured that year.
Why in the world? I hope someone answers. I don't understand why fan bases care so much, and I don't know if it's just the younger version. Like for me, it means nothing to me that they're on that cover. I wouldn't care, but everyone around here is going nuts. The people are congratulating each other on social media here in Buffalo.
Wow,
like as if
That's
they
what
won
I was
something.
Curious about what people were
on the radio. You would think something special happened here. I don't. I mean, I don't know what to say, but I almost. Here's what's funny.
Yeah.
On my Facebook page, it's a little more local. For some reason, my Facebook seems like more local, Western New York area.
Yeah.
I got a lot of people on there. I was going to ask the question, but I said, you know what? If I ask that question, I'm just going to get hammered. They're going to attack me. They're going to kill me. And I'm thinking, you know what? I'll just save it, because if I put that out there, these people, the Bills Mafia, will cut my throat or something.
So you're saying the fan bases, they're ecstatic. They're okay with it.
Oh, they love it. These people are going nuts. I saw someone put a congratulations. They were so excited. It's just for me, I feel like I don't want to see it. I'm glad Justin Fields wasn't on there. Thank God.
See, I'm superstitious too. I mean, Vince Young was on there. His career went off the hinge. His career went off the cliff after he got put on Madden. Michael Vick missed 11 games after getting put. I mean, there's some horror stories about it. It's not an exact science, but there are some pretty bad Madden stories. And the way he runs, I could see him getting injured, man. That would be horrible for Buffalo, especially with your team this year, man.
Oh yeah, because now the window is right. I mean, that we've talked about this before. The window is starting to creak closed a little.
You added some players,
They brought Leonard Floyd in. That could be good. When he was with the Bears, though, I got to say, he's a little bit streaky.
Yeah.
You never know. I mean, he had a really good, the one real good Khalil Mack year. So he was on the other side. Then he played a year with, I think, Robert Quinn, and it wasn't so great. Yeah. And, so he's good for them. I mean, I don't know how they fit him under the cap, because they can't. I know Hopkins is out of the picture for them. Yeah. So, and I see he went down to your guy. He was visiting.
Yes, Sunday. Hopkins is going to be in town, so I'm going to try to sell him myself. And
yeah.
We're going to talk about that when I let you go. Hopkins. Let's see what happens. I don't know. I was surprised he even took the trip. But Vrabel's a salesman, I guess.
Well, think about it. I think the Chiefs and the Bills are out. They don't have enough money. They're under the cap. The Bills have $1 million, and I think the Chiefs only had $500,000. I don't know how they could fit him in. I don't know how
Tennessee's really going to do it. I mean, you can make it happen if you want it bad enough, but I don't know if those teams want it bad. I don't know if Diggs never said anything about it on any of his social media. Most of the time, players are recruiting players. Von Miller wants it.
Yeah, well, Von Miller is going to end up being this team's albatross. He doesn't play enough. He's got a big price tag, and really, what's he done? I don't even know. They tried so hard to be the Rams.
Yeah.
And you know what? You got to put Von Miller in the closet until about week 12, and let that be his preseason. And because he's older now, another really bad injury, right? I mean, they're going to be left-handed holding the bag.
I knew they overpaid him, but I figured maybe it would work out and he would be healthy at the air quote right time for you. you
And
know. But you did size up the run deep. Let's see what happens. I really like Kincaid. I've been reading. He's having a great little mini camp thing. He caught a long pass the other day, but I know it's just mini camp. But still.
That might be why, though, they don't really need Hopkins. I mean, money aside, I mean, truly, do you want to? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know anything. But do you really want to? I don't know. I mean, he's really got to – he's coming to Buffalo. He's going to have to really – because of Diggs, he's going to have to really humble himself. He's going to be the number 2. He goes to Tennessee. He goes, let's say, there was another place I was thinking with him, even Baltimore. I mean, you know, OBJ there, he's always hurt, so he's already he's been the second fiddle already.
That's true. So, he didn't even play at all, and I think maybe what I would ask him point blank, number one, if I'm Tennessee or whoever, he's got to pass a physical because he's missed so many games the last 2 years. I know he had a PED thing, but he was hurt the year before that. And he's got to I'm asking him to play the slot, man.
Yes.
You know?
And that's what he'd have to do in Buffalo.
And see how that works out.
I got a surprise team, I feel, Cleveland. I really think that they could – I wouldn't be shocked. They don't care. They take everyone. So why not throw money, bring him in,
He used to play with Watson and you know, Peoples-Jones is a good player. I know they got, who's it, Elijah Moore, the other guy from the Jets. They really don't need him, but they can use him.
The other team is Dallas with all the money they have. Interesting.
Yeah. Dallas will always find a way to add another receiver. Even though they got Cooks and CeeDee Lamb, they always want to add a player, you know.
Yeah.
He also mentioned Houston. When he mentioned Houston, I'm thinking, what do you just want to hang out with James Harden and go to the strip club or something? I mean, what's that all about, you know?
Well, that's like Bears fans were talking, and I on Twitter, and I didn't respond to anything, but I'm thinking, what are you talking about? This
saw that too. The Bears don't need him.
What? This isn't time for that. You know, it's not time to be bringing.
You're right. Tennessee, we got a bunch of young pups here. I mean, we got guys that are like first to second year. I mean, he could. Yeah. So
you guys are closer though, right? You're much closer. The Bears are still. They need to just win 7 games this year, and it'll be successful.
Exactly. Yeah, they're way off. They're way. Houston's way off. I mean, that's Tennessee's.
They were close. Yeah.
Well,
close.
I mean, if this offensive line clicks the way they think, they could be in the playoff hunt. Yeah, they can be maybe the Jets, but you know, we'll see. The Devontae Adams talk has been on you know, him being traded. There's a report that maybe Garoppolo don't even play this year because of that foot injury. But McDaniel says otherwise. You can't.
He backpedaled fast.
Huh?
Devontae Adams backpedaled on what he originally said pretty quick.
Yeah,
because it was strong.
So I don't know what that a lot of stuff could happen this summer. Essentially, is what and something could happen by the trade deadline in November, man.
Can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah. So, all right then, Chief. That's all I got. You got anything? You got anything you need to plug? You got any questions for me?
Well, first off, once again, great show, and I love coming on. You're coming on mine soon. I got to give you a date.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, man.
Definitely. Well, plugging wise, Friday night, 6:00 Eastern, Spitballin' Sports. You know, with me and Scott, we'll be talking everything. We do everything, just like you. We do everything.
Yeah.
You know, I might even have to talk about golf for a moment with that live and PGA stuff, because I'll tell you, it drives me nuts that people get so like all of a sudden they're holy, you know.
Right. I talked about that yesterday. Yeah.
The meantime, NBA, NHL, NFL, MLB, they're all going to China. No one cares about their human rights issues. So all of a sudden you're so
15% of the NBA's revenue comes from China. I mean, the NBA games all of their games are being shown in China.
Right. We know.
So it's not like it's a big deal, man.
I know they're going crazy. Nike, we know their history and everything else.
Sweatshops and everything.
Mm-hmm. So that's my thing. I'm doing that. I do another sports show now, but it's all hockey. It's called Let's Talk Pucks.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't tell you anything, brother. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all NHL. So that's what I'm doing. We got a pro wrestling podcast that guys are doing, but They do that on Saturday mornings.
Oh,
Those are my
okay.
plugs. That's about it, man. But you're coming back on
You got it,
because
buddy. I
gotta
always try
talk
to
some
bring me
football.
on 30 minutes after the hour because Friday I like to knock out my laundry because this apartment I'm in, if I don't get it done at a certain time and never get it done, it's one of those deals.
Well, because what I'm going to do for you is just send you the link. Just hop on when you can. And when I
Okay.
see you, I'll throw you in.
Yeah,
That's all.
whenever you want to do that, man.
Definitely.
Whenever you got my little Twitter handle thing or here on Facebook or whatever, buddy. And yeah.
By the way, you see the Yankees game was canceled because we are getting some incredible. Even where I'm at, it can smell the
I was
smoke.
about to ask you about that. Are you getting that haze from the Canadian fires on your side?
It's funny how New York City and New Jersey's getting it because I am right now as we're talking, I'm looking directly at Canada across the street. I can get to Canada. I could walk in probably a minute and a half. I can be at the bridge by walking.
Okay.
So I'm right here.
And you're
But
not
for some
seeing
reason,
nothing?
well, we're west of Canada. It's weird the way we're pointed.
Yeah.
And we get a little. I've smelled the smoke. We've had some haze. We had haze this morning. But my gosh, and they said right now in New York City, the only place that's worse in air quality is Budapest, India. So it's bad. The Yankees
I can't
canceled
believe
the
they
game.
canceled the Yankee game. I can't remember the last time they canceled a Yankee game because of like a power outage or air quality. Can you remember anything? Maybe
No.
9/11, I guess.
9/11, yeah. I was talking to a friend who's in New Jersey, and they said to me today, it was 2:00 in the afternoon. It felt like it was 9:00 at night. That's how bad.
Something I'll ask Mad New Yorker. He's in New York City, you know.
Yeah, I asked them. I heard they're having a hard time. I mean, here we're lucky. We got the wind is going it was going some way that we are. Like I said, we're pointed west, so we were better.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I mean, it's a crazy. I remember one time about 15 years ago, all the power went out in New York City in the summertime.
Yes.
People's walking across the bridge. It looks like, and if you look at some of the pictures, it looks like something out of a science fiction movie, like Independence Day.
At that same time, us here in Western New York we got it too.
Yeah.
We had gotten hit with it too. And I'll never forget. It was like about 94 degrees here, so I'm sure that's what tripped it all off. All the people using air conditioning and stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, these power outages are. Some reason New York State likes to have them. I don't know about you guys down there, but we seem to.
We got some power outages this past winter. We got that really cold. Remember when all the NFL had those very cold games on Christmas Eve?
Yes.
Yeah, my power kept going out for about 15 minutes a pop. It went out when I was on the Mac and Jack and Jim Jeffcoat show one Saturday. Oh, the Christmas Eve when we had all those cold games in the NFL. Yeah.
Nothing worse than being in the middle of some cold and having the heat go out. Oh my God.
It was like 15 minutes and then come back on. Then they go out for another 15 minutes.
And I'll let you, I know you got to go, but we had one time here, 3 hours or 4. Well, it was 4 hours, probably more than that. And it was like 24 degrees outside, wind chill of -10, and we were no heat. It was,
you're just sitting there with all these layers on, huh?
The thermostat said 53 degrees or whatever the hell was in here, 48. It was really, then you're worried about burst pipes. It was a mess, but
oh God,
that's what you
Life
get for living
times
here
in Buffalo, New York.
Well, they got Josh Allen on the thing. We're good. They're on the cover.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Hey, I'll see you later. Stay in touch, John.
Yes, I'm sending you some messages.
All right, I'll tag you, man. See ya. Hey, everybody. So, anyways, like John was saying, I'll just say this. A few quick notes on Hopkins. Yes, he did used to play for Mike Vrabel. And Hopkins will be in town on Sunday. Is it the end of the world if he doesn't sign? No. If they can sign him for $8 to $10 million and pending a physical, and him wanting to play out of the slot receiver, then I think he would be great. Because I do think Burks is more of an outside guy. Tennessee has a 3, and I have to have a straightforward comment. If I'm Hopkins, I'm saying, okay, Are you still going to keep Ryan Tannehill? Are you going to keep him this year? Okay. Are you going to keep him this year? Are you going to make any major cuts here? Is there anything else? Because it's post June 1 for salary cap purposes. So all that has to be answered. If I'm Hopkins, if I'm Tennessee, those are my questions. Can he pass a physical? Is he willing to play the slot receiver position here, DeAndre Hopkins? If he's willing to do that, and if he's willing, make a $8 to $10 million and rest of it being incentives, then you got yourself a player. The incentives don't really count against the cap. They can make it happen. I think he would help their chances to make the playoffs next year. This team has a veteran defense. I had them at like 9-8, 8-9. If they got a guy like Hopkins and this offensive line plays relatively well, doesn't have to play great, relatively well, would be better than what they did last year. They've got 3 new starters on here. I do think Sonorsky is going to be a big hit for Tennessee, a big hit. This team can compete with anybody. They can potentially win the division getting a guy like this. Now, it would be a year-to-year basis. So I'm surprised he's even making the trip. So I think the Titans are basically in they're, I wouldn't say they're in the driver's seat, but they're in a good place where they could even get a guy like a Hopkins to even visit here on Sunday. And it's the first visit for DeAndre Hopkins. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm sure the Titans, they don't have enough money to go crazy with the big-time contract. They're not going to do that. They're not going to make the same mistake they did under the other general manager, John Robertson, where they gave up a second-round pick and paid $15 million to an often injured and well past his prime Julio Jones. So I'm going to get off here now, folks, because I want to watch the game. If you like the show, please share the show. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, and I'll have a little bit more opinion on that story and any other NBA stories that develops. And, of course, I'll go over the game tomorrow here on Sports Scope.